So like while we're just driving to watch Kong in 3D, we just decided to like whip out my phone and record, do our little podcast, fourth one.
Very randomly.
Yeah, we believe in being spontaneous.
Yeah.
That's where the fucking magic is, right?
So we were just speaking about a really interesting topic, and then you were like, "Oh, why don't we record it?" Because it was a really interesting conversation. So we were speaking about becoming a parent for the first time, and how people wait a certain age to be ready, or they wait until they have money stacked up, and because then they think, okay, that's secure, we can have a child now. And you asked me the question, do you think like you need money saved like for all the expenses, everything a child needs?
Does it lead to the family and the kids being more happier or not?
Which I definitely don't think it does. Many people are going to disagree and say, look, like you need to have money for the child to have a good life, to be secure, to have a better life than I did. And then I was thinking, what defines a good life for a baby, for a child, for the first few years of their upbringing, which is obviously detrimental for their future. You're shaping, the child is born, you're shaping their future, their character. And I was thinking, okay, what does a child need? What does a baby need? And I was thinking the three most basic things.
Oh, yeah.
Number one thing is obviously, I think, love and caring from the parents. That's the number one thing. And then shelter and food. I mean, what else? Shelter and food.
Yeah, those are like the basic things, right?
Yeah, so love, shelter and food. What more do they need, really? So as long as they're fed, they're warm, and they are loved by the parent. They don't need an iPad? So then the other thing I was saying, okay, so let's take for example, they have all this technology, like new toys that teach children how to read and, okay, let's say smaller children, sing and say numbers, recognize colors, and they're like really smart toys, like the robot ones where, oh, press this and press the red button, press this, and then singing together. And I was thinking, all of these things the parent can do with their child, and all of this is being taken away from the children. From the children communicating with the parent, it's being taken away by all these new toys and
technology, basically.
Yeah, and I'm like, that's really not.
It's
needed.
like handling the responsibility of being a parent to a generation of human-made creations.
It's taking
artificial
away
intelligence,
the bond.
right?
Yeah, it's taking away the bond. All these things that, of course, you're going to get your child some toys that they can enjoy.
It's part of childhood. It's gonna happen anyways. You're gonna have toys and whatever.
But all these like extra necessary things, like I see, like you'll have these blankets in fashion that every year, like mum needs, and all these like things. Even like the buggies, the prams. It's like the newest one. Like, oh my god, I need this one. Like it's like new wheels, like functioning this way, and like version 2, version 3 update every year. I'm like, what? Why is this needed? Just for fashion? And
it sounds more like a fashionable trend, keeping up with the current trend, than actually parenthood, right?
Yeah. So I'm like, why don't you think down to the basics? What does your child need, and what does it
actually need?
So really, when people are like, oh, I can't afford a child, I'm like, what the fuck are you planning to get your child? Like, what?
Damn, girl, you sound like you actually feel very strongly about this subject and topic.
Just when I see
sounds very personal to you.
These people, I mean, it's not really personal because I'm not
But you have this different energy to it. I love it. I mean, I'm sure the viewers are enjoying this too.
Like, I follow a couple of women on Instagram. Like, I'm not hating on them or anything. I just mean I don't really understand it. They, like, let's say they're pregnant and they're preparing, and they do this whole nursery, buy like matching curtains to the matching like cot bedding, and
so cute.
Yeah, it's cute. Like, if you have the finances for it, fine. But then when people are like, oh no, I can't afford a child, and they're like, oh, I can't afford to make a nursery and all this, I'm like, you don't really need this. The baby doesn't even understand any of this shit.
People actually, in society, in the current society, actually believe that they require all of these objects, like nursery, whatever, baby shower thingies, they need to be financially prepared for it to actually have a baby. They actually believe that.
Yeah.
So basically, if somebody, let's say, like two people, a man and a woman, they're like, oh, they're not financially stable. So they're not gonna have that kid until they're financially ready.
So many people are like that.
Oh my goodness.
And then I'm thinking, listen,
Jesus.
If you can afford like a phone, which is like £50, £60 a month sometimes, you can afford to go like cinema like a couple of times a month. That's like for 2 people. One trip can be like £30, that's £60. You can afford to go shopping and buy like, I don't know, Timberland boots for like 100 or something. And these same people are like, I can't afford to, like they want a child, they're like, okay, I feel ready. Emotionally with this person, I feel ready, like our bond, but then I can't afford it. And then I'm thinking, you're throwing away, like you feel this need, this desire, like you're ready to have a child, create a family, but then you're throwing that away and being like, I can't afford it because, yeah, babies
because
are
financially
expensive.
You're not ready.
Yeah, babies are expensive,
Wow.
but then you have like 9 months to buy the basics, and
God damn it,
basics, and like buying designer clothes for the child, and it's becoming like, is this your child that you want to love and nurture? Is this your accessory?
Wow, that is such a strong. Like,
For some people, it's an accessory. If you're spending hundreds and hundreds on clothing, and then the child doesn't even have enough time to wear it because they grow out so quickly, and that child is an accessory.
I feel like this is your podcast tonight. You've taken over. This is your topic, girl. You go.
Well,
go kill it. That's amazing.
Before we started recording, I was already,
You're into this, yeah.
And then you were like, let's record. I was
Yeah, let's do it.
like, no,
Let the world fucking hear what you gotta say. Let you hear rant, about what's going on with these babies and newborns and people not actually wanting to have children. The main reasons, right? All these subtle reasons why people are just not having kids until they're waiting till they're like old and wrinkled, and it's too fucking late. Like even to try for like a kid, they have to fucking like try for years and years because biologically the time's up.
Yeah,
their
also,
fucking time is up.
You're assuming I'm gonna wait until I have enough money, then you're waiting, and then you're infertile.
Shit.
or you're trying for so long. For some people it takes a couple of years, so you're like, I'm gonna wait until I have the money. Then you begin to try, and within those a couple of years, you're trying 2 years, you can finally do it, and then you've spent the money. In the 2 years you already spent the money because you saved and waited for what. And this is I think a result of a materialistic society, these ideas.
They're all victims.
Yeah.
So what do you think, like what should be the alternative? What's a more healthier approach to bringing up a family, and you'd recommend it to your fellow women out there listening to this, or even men, for instance,
Like you say, there's no ultimate truth, there's no ultimate correct way to do it. I just think people need to focus less on the materialistic side and think, if you really want to start a family, you really want a child, don't be influenced by everyone around you and everything around you in social media and advertisements. Don't be influenced by them like trying to sell you all this stuff, and you're like, oh, I need this like newest Thompson bottle steam cleaner, which is like £120.
Yep.
Oh, and then you see these things, and probably subconsciously you're adding all of this up, and then it makes you to believe I can't afford a baby because of the media around us and everything, like selling you all this stuff. Like I was saying, my parents, when they had me, my mum was 17 when she gave birth to me. She was like 16 when she got pregnant, I think, and my dad was 18.
Wow.
Yeah, like really young, obviously like accidental. So they were really young. They had nothing.
So your friends didn't want you.
Well, no, I guess.
Oh, isn't that cute? No, I'm kidding.
But then, yeah, no. But during the pregnancy, obviously, like they were looking.
I'm sure a lot of our people listening, they can relate.
So they had nothing. They didn't have no income. My mum had 4 siblings. So my grandparents, they couldn't exactly finance me completely. Give everything that I don't know someone might desire for their child. But because the times were different, 24 years ago, because the times were different, they didn't even have nappies in my country. Then now they have like nappies, like proper.
Oh shit!
My mom
How'd you wipe your ass? Like when you were
I'm a baby. I didn't wipe my own
so simple, such a simplicity of
no
life.
washing machine, nothing.
Damn. And nowadays, like we have access to like all these diapers, nappies, Huggies, like ass wipes. They come in like wet little boxes, and like you have to close them after you use them so they don't dry up. But wouldn't you say it's actually beneficial for the? I don't know. Like I don't even know what chemicals they put inside all those stuff, but you know, because apparently it's like makes the baby's ass like like softer or something, like
I guess
skin like doesn't. Well, yeah, that's the thing.
But also because I'm also influenced, I try to be as aware as I can. But because I'm also naturally influenced by the society I lived in, like I grew up here in London. I've been here for a long time. Because I'm influenced
You're
by
London girl.
A couple of years ago, I asked my mum, like we spoke about this topic for the first time. I was like, Mum, how did you manage? You were 17. How did you manage, like financially? How did you bring me up? And she was like, honestly, money-wise, we didn't have an issue because, like, what do you need? And she was like, I had siblings who helped to look after you. You know, we used cloths. Like she's like, I used cloths that hand washed, and then toys is like you can find like literally everyday objects like playing outside as well. But mostly, if the parent interacts with their child with love and care, you know, all these things that people have now and buy now, they are not needed at all. Like you can raise your child and teach them without all these extra things. So there's different ways. So that's why sometimes I don't understand when people can afford to eat out, they can afford to go out every weekend. They go out drinking every weekend, and they spend, some people, like £50 on a night out. Which this is like their food at the end of the night, like fucking kebab, their drinks at the bar, cab home. Sometimes more than 50 every weekend.
Wow.
And then they're like, oh no, I can't afford a baby. And I'm thinking, what do you need? Within 9 months, you can't afford to buy a baby bed, some clothes, a buggy. Like
Why? My question is, why is the baby even sleeping on a baby bed? Why is it not sleeping? You know, the culture I was brought up in, right? I'm the eldest in my family. I had 3 siblings after me. I helped my mom bring up all of them, right? And I've never seen a baby bed. Like all my siblings grew up, like, you know, there was a gap in between. And they were all brought up on the same bed as my mom, in the same room next to my mom. And they would poop on the bed, and they would just, you know, pee all over. And in our tradition, we had like this plastic cloth that my mom would just, you know, put it underneath as a protection so the mattress doesn't get fucked up. Because the baby, you know, my siblings would just mess it up all the time. And, you know, my mom would not even use nappies, just like, you know, your mom.
I mean, the traditional way is not always the right way. You know, there's advances and new, because actually many deaths occur that way, because the baby like might suffocate underneath the covers. Sometimes at night, let's say they're sleeping, and you know you're in a deep sleep, you don't realize, and the baby ends up wriggling under the covers, and they suffocate and they die. And because this is
Lepmora,
exactly. This is quite common, so that's why, you know, they created eventually like cots and separately, because it's called co-sleeping, and many women actually discuss it in like forums and mummy groups.
Tell us about it.
I know this because my dad's girlfriend has a child. My little sister, she's almost 1, so we speak about these things a lot. You know, I see her every day.
So what is this so-called co-sleeping?
So co-sleeping is when the parents sleep with their baby like in the bed together. There's a cinema here. So we're just arriving at the cinema, but just to round this off. So co-sleeping, they share the bed with their baby basically since birth. So the baby sleeps either in between them or like, you know, next to them. And so my dad's girlfriend has actually done this since the whole time that my little sister was born. They tried to sleep separately in the cot, but then she's just, you know, the baby won't sleep, not calm. She wants contact with the mum, skin to skin, like crying.
Aww.
And some people prefer it that way, and it works for them. And, you know, of course you have to be really aware and be really careful. There's a tiny baby sleeping next to you. You have to be careful. But then the quality of sleep for the parents...
Use them like as a extra pillow.
Yeah. know, but the quality of sleep for the parents is not the same. Like, you have to be so careful. But many people.
It's like having this like warm little warmer, like, you know those water bottles people have during winter that you put hot water and then you just like, yeah,
baby.
I'm gonna use the baby as like
Put it under your feet.
Yeah, like put it under my armpit while sleeping, and just, you know, I'm gonna be warm and cozy, and you know, the baby's happy, I'm happy, daddy's happy, baby's happy.
And
what
that's
else?
The beauty of co-sleeping.
Oh yeah,
You
fuck
just
yes.
warm each other up. But yeah, they've always done it, never had an issue. So it's just, if you're like someone who sleeps like it's very hard to wake you up. Once you fall asleep, that's it. That's dangerous, because then in your sleep, you know, you could just roll around and like hurt the baby. But if you
co-sleeping is basically like you're going into like
you're sharing the bed with your baby. That's co-sleeping.
Okay, that's the general
That's the term,
definition.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
all right, got it.
I mean, what also other people do, mostly this is like quite common, the cot they put right next to the bed, and the side of the cot slides all the way down, so the bed is attached to the cot.
Oh,
So the baby is next to
that
you,
sounds
but
quite
still on the
expensive.
cot. No, they're not. It's like standard. Most cots are like that now. So, you know, you can just put the baby there, or anytime you can put it next to you, it's attached to the bed. So that's also another way. But then Zena was saying at night, Arena, my little sister, ends up in the bed. And then because she's like outstretched like a star, legs, arms out, then Zena's like, I end up in the cot, like sleeping, because there's no space anywhere. Like, you know.
There's always these cute situations that arise when you're like, you have a little kid, baby,
They just take
and you go
over
into
everything.
parenthood, and it just sounds so interesting. It's like a different like, you know, stage of life, I think, right? And it's you know, you're experiencing it together. The mom is doing everything like that. You just, you know, experiencing sleeping with the baby, breastfeeding or whatnot, and the dad is like there watching over the family and like gathering resources. And it's always been like this from, you know, way before time. We're just like evolving and finding, I think, more interesting, I would say, ways of taking care of our offspring, and, you know, just going into parenthood. There's like so many new methods. Like if you just Google search, I did it the other day, I was like, you know, best methods of parenthood, right? And this is like this article from like 2017, like from January or some shit, very recent. And there was like top tips, advantages, disadvantages. It was like broken down into two sections, and one part it was like, make sure. This one was the funniest one that actually caught my eye. It was like, make sure never to cuss around your baby. And I was just mind blown. I was like, okay, so what? So you just have to, like, when you go into like parenthood. So basically, what they're saying is like, you have to totally change the person you are, because the children that you're bringing up from their childhood is like, you know, there's so many different sources of influence. You being the parent, they're seeing you all day and night while growing up. If you're cussing, like, they're gonna pick that up even when they're babies, or later there's the explanation to that.
Very easily, they do.
The babies, apparently there's a certain like source of energy that you radiate when you cuss and stuff, and it's like babies and pets and animals, like, you know, they can, it's a different vibration and they can sense it, and it's like, it just scares them for like somehow. And I don't know how accurate that is.
I think it's the tone of voice mostly. It's not the word, it's the tone of voice. Babies are very good at understanding
so
tones of
when
voice.
somebody
It's
is
so
cussing,
surprising,
somebody's like
natural.
you know, just letting off, like, you know, like, fuck, like, motherfucker, like, fucking cunt, like, I'm gonna fuck you up, and the baby's right there, and then the baby's like, you know, hearing all this loud, atrocious tones of the parent, like, making all these, like, you know, offensive noises. Obviously the baby is gonna be like, oh my god, daddy, mommy,
They're
why
very
are you
good at
fucking shouting at mommy?
They're very good at reading it, like, from experience with my sister, very good. Like,
alright guys, we're gonna
yeah, we're
have to
at
say
the cinema,
goodbye.
so-
We're here to watch motherfucking Kong in 3D On a Saturday night, instead of fucking going out and getting wasted, thought we'd do something spontaneous. Like, this is random as fuck. It's not even planned. You people should be doing more spontaneous things before you start thinking about having babies. Yeah. Build your relationship up. Work on that shit. Build that bridge, right? Nurture it. And make sure comment, leave a comment, like, dislike, be real, subscribe, and check out check out the new movie Kong. We'll let you know how it went, and hope, fingers crossed, is gonna be dope. We're gonna watching it 3D, so yeah. Bye for now. Love ya.